Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Francois Marc. I am an expat, American expat living in Seoul, South Korea. I've been in South Korea for 14 years, and today I want to talk to you guys about expenses that you may experience while living here in Korea. The first expense I want to talk about is definitely housing. Housing can be so expensive in Korea, especially if you're living in Seoul like me. Luckily for me, when I moved to Korea, I lived in the countryside for 2 years. Maybe people understand that living in the countryside can sometimes be cheaper than living in a big city. In my case, living in the countryside here in Korea was super cheap, so I was able to save a lot of money, use that saved money to move to Seoul, to put a nice deposit down on an apartment and to afford my rent. There are some people who come to Korea and they don't know how to look for affordable housing, especially if you're coming to Seoul. Seoul is one of the most expensive cities on the planet. You can spend all of your money on housing, not understanding where exactly you should be living, or wanting to live in very high-end areas that will suck all of your money. So understanding exactly where to move in Korea or in Seoul can help you save so much money. Really recommend doing a lot of research on the internet, or asking other Koreans, or even looking at other YouTube videos to find where are good places to live in Seoul or in Korea. Me personally, I think if you're moving to Seoul, you should try to move to areas such as Silim or Yeongjunpo or Dangsan or even Sindaebang. I think these areas are like right in, not the center of the city, but it's close to the center of the city, that you can access Seoul, but it's not so close to the center of the city where you're going to spend a lot of money on your rent. So those are just a few places I recommend. Another caveat with the housing situation here in Korea is that you have to be mindful that in the summer and the winter, your utility bills can go from zero or very, very low to very, very high, because in Korea, it is very cold in the winter and it is super hot and humid in the summer. One thing that you can do here in Seoul or in Korea is to get a T-money card, which will really help you to keep track of your transportation costs. Even though living in Korea, your transportation costs will be fairly low, Korea has a really good transportation system. Very, very efficient. However, costs can mount if you're not careful. So I recommend getting a T-money card if you are visiting, or if you're just getting your bearings here in Korea, to help you to keep track of all of the money that you're spending on your transportation. That will give you some kind of understanding of how much money you will be spending each month while living in Seoul and while using the public transportation. It is very efficient here, the transportation system. However, going from this part of the city to that part of the city, or if you're taking, buses to different provinces and everything like that, prices can start to mount. So make sure you get this T-money card. The next expense I want to talk about is health insurance. If you are an expat living in Korea or coming to Korea, most likely you're going to qualify for the National Healthcare Plan scheme, something like this. I forget the official name of it, but since I've been in Korea and since I've known other expats who've come to Korea, we all qualify for this national healthcare plan. If you're working for like the school, if you're working for a school system, that I know we qualify for the health plan here in Korea. But if you're working for private companies and things like that, I'm not exactly sure. When you're coming to Korea and you're signing a contract for working at a public school job or a hagwon or any other job that says that you will qualify for health insurance, it's very important, I think, to read the fine print, because sometimes, the health insurance part may be a little tricky, especially for foreigners to read. So I recommend always having a Korean friend, or a liaison from your Korean company to help you with all of these different kinds of documents. Also, it's very important for you to probably search out a private health insurance operator or coordinator, or company that can help you in case you have emergencies that aren't really covered. I don't want to say aren't really, but aren't covered by the national insurance program. For example, I had knee surgery here on my meniscus. And before I had the knee surgery, I had to get an MRI. An MRI here in Korea is not covered not covered at all by the National Medical Insurance Program. So before you can get surgery, you have to have the MRI. I think the MRI cost me about 450,000 won. At that time, 1,000 Korean won was equivalent to like $1, something like that. It was a while ago. Now the prices are kind of like, off the wall, haywire, whatever. You need to have a private insurance healthcare provider, to help offset some of those fees. When I paid for my MRI, your MRI is not covered by the National Healthcare Program. To my dismay, I had to pay all this money out of pocket, which it really made me feel some kind of way. My knee surgery was 1.2 million won at that time. I remember it was 1.2 million won. So basically you can say like $1,200 at that time. But when I paid, they said, oh, you qualify for the National Healthcare Program. And they immediately took off 50%, 50% of the price. So I paid 600,000 won. And I remember when I was going to pay the price, the hospital coordinator, he asked me, do you want to pay all the price up front, or do you want to pay like over months? And I was like, let's pay it all at once, because I was like, I don't know if they're making a mistake. This price is too cheap, coming from America, that is. The next expense was actually kind of an unexpected expense for me, because I'm a little ashamed to say this, but Francois is not good at keeping track of his taxes. Definitely not good at that at all. There are many things that Francois is not good at doing. This is one of them. So it has been years since I filed taxes in the United States. One of the reasons is because I lived in France before I lived here in South Korea, and I knew that the United States and France has some tax program where if you're an expat, American expat living in France, then you don't need to pay taxes. You can pay taxes just in France. So while I didn't have to pay taxes while living in France, I still had to file taxes while living in France. That I did not know. So already Francois is starting off in trouble. So when I moved to Korea, I knew the same program existed between the United States government and Korea, but I still didn't know that I had to file taxes until I actually finally filed my taxes this year with TFX Tax Services for expats. I was super happy. I was like really happy to file my taxes with TFX Tax Services because I didn't have to do anything. Of course, I had to fill out some paperwork, but it wasn't enough to like give me a headache. I live here in Korea, and the first thing that I found out when I filed my taxes with TFX is that if you are an American living abroad, you have to file your taxes, especially if you make over $14,600 or the equivalent of that in the country's currency. So if you're an American expat living anywhere in the world, you have to file your taxes if you're making this benchmark. I sat down with a TFX coordinator. Well, I didn't sit down with the person, I was on my computer. But they explained to me the process for filing my taxes, or actually for me, in my case, filing back taxes. And the process wasn't difficult at all. I was even surprised to find out that I could just give TFX Tax Services my Korean tax documents in Korean, and they would take care of the rest. I didn't have to go through any translation agency at all. I just gave my Korean taxes to TFX and they took care of the rest. I was so happy about this that I almost cried, like seriously, because I have a lot of back taxes. After filling out the application that took about maybe 10 minutes or so, I paid the fee, which is $450 per tax year. With that money, I didn't have to have any kind of stress or any worries at all about how my taxes would be filed. The TFX tax coordinator told me that they would take care of everything. So I gave all of my information, and maybe within a week, all of my taxes were returned. And I was very happy to find out that I did not owe the United States government anything, even though I had not filed taxes for a long period of time. But what's really cool about TFX Tax Service is that if you're an American expat living in any country around the world, not just Korea, anywhere in the world, you can receive their services wherever you are, and they'll take care of your taxes in any language where you are residing, any language of the country where you are residing. I also found out that if you have a US-based business, if you're a business owner in the United States and you use TFX Tax Services, they can help you use your foreign taxes as a US tax credit to help you with your taxes for your US-based business. I don't know how it works because I'm not a tax guy, but yeah, if you contact TFX, they will definitely be able to take care of you in this regard. They also have a streamlined service. So if you're a business owner or if you owe, a lot of back taxes, like more than Francois, then you can sign up for this streamlined service where you just give all of your tax documents to TFX and they will take care of everything for you. Of course, the fee is going to be a little higher than the $450 that I paid, but you're not gonna have to worry about anything. So in my case, I was very worried about my taxes because I thought it would prevent me or hinder me from getting a new US passport or from renewing my passport because it's coming up soon. $450 can be a lot of money, but for peace of mind, can't pay for that. The deadline for filing your taxes for the United States is April 15th, but the IRS gives us an automatic extension until June 15th. So TFX can help you with all of your tax needs. If you are an American citizen, if you're a naturalized citizen, if you're born in the United States, if you have a green card, whatever the case may be, you have to file your taxes. Please don't make the same mistake Francois did. TFX Tax Service also gave me a promo code for you to use. If you use their services, if you're a first-time user, you can use my promo code, Francois Marc, somewhere here in the video, in the description box, wherever. You can use my promo code, get $50 off of your tax credit until April 30th. After April 30th, you'll receive a $25 reduction in your fee, but you must use that code quickly, and it can only be for first-time users. The next expense I want to talk to you guys about is food. Whew, boy, let me talk to you about this. Groceries in Korea, very, very expensive. Sometimes I go into the grocery store and I'll come out with like 3 or 4 things and I would have paid like 50,000 won. 50,000 won. I think that's like maybe 35, 40 US dollars. Food here in Korea can be very expensive, especially if you are eating foreign food. If you are looking for food from your home, like United States, Australia, any of those places, you're going out to different restaurants, these prices are going to add up. If you're eating local cuisine, like Korean food, then of course you're gonna pay a much lower price. So I think it's very important for those of you who are coming to visit or even to live to be mindful of the amount of money that you pay on food. I live alone, so for me, eating out at restaurants isn't that big of a deal, or at least it wasn't in the past. But these days in Korea, I think maybe it's because of inflation or whatever the deal may be, food prices are going up even more than they were in the past, or they have been in the past. So whereas I could go to even Korean restaurants and get meals for like 7,000, 8,000 won, now meals with more food or enough food to fill me up costs a lot. Like I will pay maybe 10,000 won. Sometimes you can find food for 5,000, 6,000 won, but not everyone has the same tastes. But definitely if you're going to eat at restaurants, make sure you cap the amount of times you go to foreign restaurants to maybe once, twice a week. One day you're gonna turn around and you're gonna look and you're gonna see, wow, I spent 200,000 won eating at restaurants like Francois did. One week, I was just eating out at restaurants and I looked at my spreadsheet and I was like, I spent that much money on food? Here in Korea, many people don't understand this, but Korea is the country that has so many entertainment options available for you that are free, that are super, super free. It's crazy how many things you can do here that are free. However, a lot of people I know like to go to the bars, they like to go to cafes, they like to go to karaoke rooms, or here in Korea we say 노래방, 노래 sing, bang is room, 노래방. So if you're going to these places often, if you're going to Itaewon, or if you're going to Hongdae, or if you're going to Gangnam, and you're going to nightclubs, or you're going to bars, you're going to cafes, if you're going to the 노래방, or singing rooms, you're gonna be paying a lot of money. Well, maybe not for the 노래방, or the singing room, but definitely for the bars, the nightclubs. Yeah, Francois doesn't go to nightclubs. If you go to these places, you're gonna spend a lot of money. Why? Not only because of the entry fee. Maybe sometimes there won't be an entry fee, but maybe sometimes you're gonna be paying upwards 20,000 won to enter the club, sometimes 30,000 won. Or if you're not paying money to enter the club, you're going to be paying a lot of money for alcohol. And I know how some guys are. Guys, when you get into the clubs, you're saying, I'm not gonna buy any alcohol, I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna do that. But as soon as you see a pretty girl that you like, you're gonna go over to her, you're gonna talk to her. If you have the confidence, you're gonna go over there, you're gonna talk to her, and you're gonna offer to buy her a drink because you need something to break the ice. This is gonna happen more often than not if you come to Korea, because there are so many good looking people in Korea, especially in Seoul. So please be mindful of your expenses for entertainment. Korea has a lot of nice parks that are free. You can go to a lot of museums in the city or in the country that are free. You can go to the beach, which is free. There are many things in your neighborhood you can do that are free. Look for some free options for entertainment. Don't spend all your money on drinking or women, or if you're a woman, spending on men or cafes and things like that. Save your money. You're gonna need it, trust me. Here's one expense that can really make or break you, and that is mobile fees and internet fees. Oh man, oh my God. Francois got in trouble with this a long time ago. Let me tell you about the story. When I came to Korea, I was all for saving money. I wanted to come to this country. I wanted to, earn my salary and not go out, not spend money, things like that. So I was like, I'm not gonna get a smartphone. I'm not gonna get one of these fancy devices that everyone else is getting on. I'm gonna get a flip phone. I got the flip phone. And my usage for the flip phone was so cheap every month here in Korea that it kind of like got into my head that I could make all the calls I wanted to make all the texts I wanted to whoever I wanted in the United States or around the world and not have to pay a substantial fee. I think my bill was about 15,000 won per month for my cell phone fee. But when I went abroad, this is where Francois made a big mistake. I went to France for 2 weeks. I went to Southeast Asia for 2 weeks. When I came back to Korea, I looked at my phone bill. It was 450,000 won. Yo, I'm laughing because I'm not happy about this. It was just, how did I spend 450,000 won on my phone bill? And this is not the first time I made a mistake using a phone in a different country. I made a similar mistake in France. One day I looked up and my phone bill was 260 euros because I was calling the United States and my French wasn't good at that time. So I didn't understand that, yes, I could make some calls to America where the bill wouldn't be so high, but after this amount of time expired, the bill is going to go up substantially. So the same thing happened here in Korea, and I paid 450,000 won for my phone bill. So make sure when you are buying your phone or you're getting your mobile plan or you're getting your internet, things like that, that you bring a Korean with you, maybe a worker from your school or maybe a friend that you've made, because they're going to be able to explain to you all the ins and outs of your plan so you don't make the same mistakes that Francois did. That's crazy. That's 450,000 won that I could have spent on anything else. I could have spent on food or entertainment or whatever, or even traveling. Man, I'm so dumb. The next expense that is really important to remember is traveling. Whether it's traveling in Korea or using Korea as a hub to travel around the world. Incheon International Airport, I think, or I used to think at least, was the #1 airport in the world. These days, there's some things happening there. The lines are long, security is crazy. But anyways, Incheon International Airport is really good. It's a nice hub. You can take flights from Korea to anywhere in the world. Living here in South Korea, it makes it really easy for me to travel to other places around the world. I can go easily to America. I can go to Canada. I can go to Kazakhstan. I can go to Mongolia. I can go to Southeast Asia countries like Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, any place. I can go to Australia. You can go to any country in the world from Korea, which makes it kind of like a double-edged sword because you have access to all of these wonderful destinations, especially here in Asia. The prices of travel are very, very cheap, but you need to budget, or at least Francois needs to budget. I'll give you an example. I took a flight from, where was I? I think I did a 3-country flight or something from Thailand to Korea, to Mongolia, and then back to Korea. And the initial price was like 850,000 won. I think that's the equivalent of maybe 750 US dollars, 725 US dollars, something like that, for 3 countries. Those prices can add up. Like, I love to travel, and as you see on my channel, I've traveled to quite a few countries, and even there are countries I've traveled to that are not on this channel, but those prices can really add up, so you have to budget. Another example is that sometimes in the summer you can get, or even in the spring, you can get tickets from Korea to Mongolia, round trip tickets on low-cost airlines for about 500 or 600,000 won. So do you remember earlier I told you about the 450,000 won that I accidentally spent on my cell phone fee? That money could have been used toward taking a flight to Mongolia. Or if you're spending a lot of money at clubs or cafes or places like this, that money can be used for travel. Because when you get here and when you're traveling around Korea, or if you're traveling internationally, you're gonna realize that there are so many things to explore, so many places to go, so many things to do here that you want to go and explore and experience these places. But if you're spending your money on other activities, you're gonna quickly realize that your money is going to be used doing those things rather than going traveling. Francois is not the richest man in the world, definitely. I don't have a lot of money, but at the same time, I do have money, and that is because I budgeted, not because of stocks or anything like that. It's because I budget. I do the best I can with what I have. At this point in my life, because of experience, I'm able to not look at the current situation, but to kind of look further down the road and realize that if I use resources here, that means I'm taking away from using resources here in the future. So better budget, better, take my time with purchases and buying things and use all of my resources and knowledge to budget to the best of my ability. The last expense I want to talk to you about is a little sad for me because it comes with a deep personal story that I don't like to share so much, but I'll share with you guys. And that is just keeping money available for unexpected expenses. As an expat living in Korea, the hardest thing, the toughest thing is not being able to be close to your family. While you're here in Korea or wherever you are in the world, back home, life continues. Life is happening for you, but life is also continuing for your friends and all of your family back home. You're going to miss out on a lot of things. You're going to miss out on graduations. You're going to miss out on maybe bar mitzvahs, or you're going to miss out on first year birthdays. Or is that only here in Korea? I can't remember. I think I'm Korean now. You're going to miss out on weddings. Equally as important is that you're going to miss out on funerals. So it's always a good idea to keep some money in your pocket or in your bank account, wherever, in case you need to fly home for an emergency. I had to fly home quickly for my grandmother's funeral. My best friend, she passed away in 2018. Yeah, sorry. I don't want to get emotional, but yeah, no one, I don't think anyone's ever going to replace that void in my heart. No one. But anyways, I had to fly home for her funeral. And what happened was that the airline made a mistake with my ticket. I don't know how they made this mistake, but they made a mistake. And I had to pay like a lot of money. I had to pay a lot of money for a plane ticket to buy another plane ticket to the United States. And they told me that, the airlines told me that we can refund the money that you spent on the first ticket because we made the mistake. However, you're going to need to buy the same ticket again in order for us to refund the money. And I was like, okay, I can do that. But I asked the question, I was like, what happened, or what would happen if I'm not able to purchase the same ticket again? What if I didn't have money for it? And the person, the operator on the phone, she was like, I don't know. And I was like, wow, yeah, you really need to have money in your back pocket to account for mistakes that you will make financially, and also companies will make financially, or maybe you'll have an accident, a medical emergency that you need to attend to. Another example is I was in Mongolia over the summer of 2024, and I jumped off a horse that lost control, and I broke my wrist. It was a complete fracture, very, very bad. It's healing better, but it's still not perfect yet. But I had to pay for all of my medical expenses out of pocket. So I should have gotten travel insurance, but I didn't have travel insurance. And luckily for me, I have resources. And also luckily for me, the price of surgery in Mongolia, which I had, wasn't so expensive. But imagine if I traveled and I didn't have any money in my back pocket, I would have been screwed. So it's always a very good idea to think about your future. Think about not 5, 10 years, 15 years in the future. It doesn't have to be that long, but think about, 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now, a year from now, things that can happen while you are living abroad. Keep some money to the side just in case you need it for a rainy day. I think these are my 10 expenses that could occur while you're living in Korea or living abroad. Sorry if I'm so long-winded. Francois talks a lot. Francois likes to talk. He's a professor, and maybe you're like my students at home. Francois, we get it. Please be quiet. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet now. I'm done with the video. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for coming back to the channel. I hope you got some value from this video. Thanks to all of my channel members. I'll put your names here in the video somewhere. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Love you all. Take care. Make sure you stay hydrated. See you in the next one. Peace.